At 5 o'clock, call the meeting to order. This is the Cloverdale Homeless Community Advisory Group. It is Tuesday, October 12th. I am your Vice Mayor, Todd Lambs, and your chair for this committee. With us, we have Mayor Marta Cruz and city staff, and I will let everyone introduce themselves as well. Start with you, David, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Mayor. I'm David Kelly, City Manager. And Yvonne, real quickly, if you see any committee members out there, please go ahead and promote them to panelists.
Okay.
I know there's a Michael Velasquez.
Yeah, I think I see Michael. I'll move him down.
And Margaret Van Slyke with Reach for Home.
Don't see her yet.
Okay. Please.
Kevin Thompson, Assistant City Manager, Community Development Director of the City of Cloverdale.
Jason Ferguson, Chief of Police, Cloverdale.
Danielle Fred, Northern Sonoma County Health Services.
Gus Walter, Cloverdale City Council.
Colleen Howell, Wallace House.
I'm Val. I'm new to the community and I work with homeless people.
Val, nice to meet you.
Trudy Bolton, resident.
Beautiful, thank you. Anybody on the screen?
Marta Cruz, Mayor.
Michael Velasquez, St. Vincent de Paul.
Yvonne?
Yvonne Spence, interim city clerk.
Thank you so much. Okay, update on local homelessness activities. Want to start, is Debbie in the audience, Yvonne?
Yes, I'll move over.
Can you promote Debbie, please? Or whoever's with us. Good afternoon, Debbie. You can unmute yourself. Debbie, can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you are.
Yep.
All right, you want to give us an update through Alexander Valley Healthcare, which you've had going on in the past month?
We were working with Reach from Home and the chief of police and Colleen on a special case, and I don't know the results of that. Maybe Colleen can give us an update, or Chief Ferguson. And other than that, I haven't been doing much else other than working on submitting my USDA grant. So I don't have any other updates right now.
Congratulations on your project moving forward. Hopefully it keeps
Thank
going
you.
at a swift pace. Wallace House, Colleen.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me okay, Yvonne?
Yes.
Okay. We've been busy working on these emergency housing vouchers that are coming out of the county. And the group that they're distributing right now are specifically targeted to chronically homeless. So that would be people who are homeless more than a year or more than 4 times in the last 4 years. So they allocate them a couple at a time. So the first 2 that we received, we got the paperwork finished and we've submitted that through the county to the housing authority, and then we're going to get another 2 vouchers that we'll work on. And so that's pretty much what we've been up to. As far as this one client that Debbie referenced, I think Margaret's got a better handle on the latest. Would you say that's the case, Chief Ferguson?
I'm Blake, yes.
So we'll basically wait for her to check in on that one.
Thank you, Colleen.
Hi everyone, I can help pitch in. This is Anna with Reach for Home. Sorry, my dog is barking. A second, I'm sorry.
Meet the dog real quick.
I'm so sorry, he's so loud. Okay, so I know Margaret has been working with all of you guys really closely on a particular person in Cloverdale who needs help. I know Chief Ferguson wrote an amazing letter on her behalf to really explain why ongoing 5150s haven't been, I mean, although they're short-term effective, this particular person needs a long-term solution. I know the team has been really collaborating and putting your hats together on figuring out what happens next after the 5150. So I think we are just waiting to see what other openings there are available where someone can stay longer than 72 hours.
Great.
And then just to, touch on what Colleen was talking about, the vouchers, Reach for Home right now has 2, and we've requested an additional 2. So we're hoping to get some chronically homeless folks into housing. So that's very exciting.
Anna, Debbie, or Kat, or Colleen, have you guys worked together any further on the coalition we're starting here in town? Does anyone have any information on that or update? Because I don't know if I've been included in all of them, so I just wanted to see if there's anything new.
Todd, I didn't hear your question.
Is there anything new with the collaboration between you and Margaret and Pauline, or anything going on that I haven't been a part of in the past?
No, you've been a part of everything that's been going on. The only thing that is new is that Reach for Home has signed a letter of intent to partner with us in the new facility regarding homeless services. So that's the only thing that's new, and that was just a letter of intent that was submitted with my application.
Well, great to hear. It's a start in the right direction.
Thank you.
I know Margaret last week, at the end of last week, mentioned that she wanted to set another meeting up, and so maybe I'll put it on an email to you guys tonight, or forward one from before, so we can maybe set up a new date and time to get the next step going, whatever it is that she wanted to discuss.
I think we wanted to set up a site within our current facilities for Reach for Home to be located at least one day a week to help people sign up for housing, get into coordinated entry, vouchers, etc. We have an expected delivery date for the new modular that we're replacing on site where the Southern, we used to rent the old modular, and it's scheduled for delivery in, I think, October 28th. So as soon as that's delivered and installed, which everything's ready and waiting, then we'll have space for them. Right now, we don't have any extra space, but that will give us an extra space. So we're looking forward to having that available to us.
Great, thank you, Debbie. Michael, I know you're not on the list, but I'd love to get an update from you with what you have going on at St. Vincent de Paul, if you don't mind.
Yeah, thank you, Todd and committee. We're changing our model right now since we're having the grocery distribution and anybody in need of rental assistance or voucher, or not vouchers, but cards for grocery outlet. We're doing that as they come in. We're not getting any walk-ins on Tuesday mornings from 9:30 to 12. So we're looking at changing our model where we'll be able to help with kind of a on-call with our volunteers and have those people come down to the church when they need something. Right now, we're getting those calls through Randy and my cell phones. We're going down to the church at different times of the day and evening. And in the last month, we have helped about 80 families, about 20, I'll say homeless individuals. They're reoccurring clients with grocery outlet cards, sleeping bags, things like that. But it's mostly families that are not able to make their rent right now or are in need of groceries. So we're helping those out as they give us a call. A couple of weeks ago, Chief Ferguson, well, last week, Chief Ferguson and I traded emails. Colleen was advised. We have a young lady in town. We've been feeding her on the street at the north end of town for about a month. She doesn't appear to want any help. The second time I met her at the on-ramp across from Starbucks, that's where she's at most of the time. She had a lot of bruises and scrapes on her face. They did not look like she had been hit. The orbits of her eyes were not bruised. It was more like fall type injuries just looking at her. I understand that as of today, I talked to Jim from Reach for Home, and he has contacted her several times in the last couple of weeks, and she does not want any help. I found out today, though, that she gets picked up by truckers there at the on-ramp. She told me she was trying to get out of town to go north, but she keeps reoccurring in town. I asked her where she sleeps. She sleeps in different places. She's not going to the river. We've helped her with some female type products that she needs: socks, a jacket, a sleeping bag. She says she wants to get out of town. She has refused any of the coordinated entry assistance from Reach for Home, from their outreach team. But it did throw up a caution flag, Chief Ferguson, that she told Jim today that she is getting picked up by truckers that come through town. And that's all I have.
Michael, did she tell you where she wants to go? Did she ask for any bus tickets, anything that we could help with?
No, because I was going to help her with that. We've helped other individuals with the bus that comes from Santa Rosa that goes to Ukiah. Most of the time I talk to her, she's pretty coherent, but she is in need of some behavioral assistance. And I don't know if it's organic, if it's alcohol or drugs, but there are times that, to me, she appears that she's high. And that's I see her at different times of the day when I take her food.
And Michael, do you know if any of these families that you are helping right now that need groceries or rental assistance or anything along those lines, are they in touch with Reach for Home or anyone else that can get them housing vouchers?
They yes, and with Catholic Charities. And unfortunately, and it's not the fault of the organizations, they're just in line. Even if they fill out any application, it's just Randy DiCaminata is going to meet with a family tomorrow at noon. They're getting evicted if they don't get help, so we will help them so they don't get evicted. But you know, the young lady that I just spoke of and talked to Chief Ferguson about, you know, there's a lot of chatter in the community about nobody's doing anything. And it's just so untrue. Everybody on this committee, a lot of volunteers are helping out as best they can. Some of these individuals, as we've seen, it's going to be chronic. They just don't want any help. They subsist day to day until they get injured or sick, and then they go to the hospital, and then they come back. So thank everybody for what everybody's doing. Thank you.
Chief, would you like to speak on any of this? Well, I certainly will say, in regards to what Michael was saying, we did have a conversation, and this individual might will, you know, benefit from this team concept of trying to approach this one person at a time as a group, much like we are for the individual we spoke about earlier in this meeting. I think our success rate of doing that is going to be much higher than when we look at this as the totality of all of these folks that we're dealing with and the issues and the resources that we're not getting. I'm hoping, based on Margaret's email that I received today regarding the first individual, that we're going to see some steps moving forward and some progress. I think this team idea and this concept is going to be the way that this actually starts to see a difference. And as I said to Michael, this individual might very well be somebody we put on that list to approach from the team concept and determine what we can do. And it may come down to a point where, you know, we may have to step in and say, look, you know, we have potentially a mental health crisis here that needs to be addressed right away. But as of what Michael's telling me and what I know now, it doesn't meet that criteria. It doesn't meet the threshold for that. That's not to say we can't go out there and see what we can do as a group collectively and focus on what needs this person. Thank you. Any other questions?
There's a hand up with Jody Kane.
Please, thank you.
Hi there. I wanted to just touch on, Michael, what you had said. Maybe we can connect with regard to the folks who are looking to be possibly evicted. Michael, if we could connect, if they are our patients, or we can get them connected. There is a wait list right now for the rental assistance that was just signed in. So it is time sensitive, so maybe we could get together. I could make that happen, so.
Thank you, Jody. I'll get that information in the morning
Yeah.
and then relay it to you as soon as I get it. Thank you.
And Michael, I'm going to include you in the collaboration meeting with Debbie and Colleen and Margaret as well, so that you can be part of this, because you have a lot of contacts with people as well to get them the help. And I think that's the team effort that we're looking for. So thank you.
That sounds good, Todd. Thank you.
There's another hand. Anna?
Anna, please.
If you don't mind looping Reach for a Home and the rental assistance for this person being evicted, we want to see if there's anything that we can help out with as well.
Great, thank you.
Anna, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We'll move on to the update from the Northern Sonoma County Homelessness Task Force.
Vice Mayor, Chair, I'm happy to provide an update on that process. Both myself, Mayor Cruz, as well as Kevin Thompson, our assistant city manager, have been participating in that task force. The last meeting was held on Friday, September 24th at 10 o'clock. That process is being led up by Supervisor Gore. Is covering the region from Windsor to Cloverdale in the unincorporated area. It's referred to as the Northern Sonoma County Homeless Task Force. There has been to date a draft. Well, actually, it's a final 5-year strategic plan prepared. The strategic plan contains 6 key strategies, including community engagement, emergency shelter and interim housing, street outreach, coordinated entry, prevention and diversion, and last but not least, permanent housing. The focus has been on just finalizing the specific tactics that will be pursued under each of those strategies. Supervisor Gore has announced that what he would like to do is host a town hall. Details to come on October 26th. I anticipate that might be a virtual meeting. I'm not sure if it could be an in-person meeting to kind of talk about, give an overview of this planning effort. And I think kind of the next stage is really to actually look at some of those strategies and tactics and decide which ones we want to prioritize and start to implement. Some of that is reflected in the work that we're already doing here locally in Cloverdale. But that's a concurrent effort that we're kind of part of in really seeking to leverage both what's being done at the regional level and as well as what we're doing here at the local level. So I think a lot of those efforts are really synergistic, work together, and it's good to see that through the county they're trying to bring some additional financial resources to bear to help with this effort. That's really just kind of a high-level overview of the process, and I think we're going to hear more from Supervisor Gore. Ultimately, we may bring that to council in coordination with Mayor as a presentation, assuming that Supervisor Gore is available to do that.
Thank you.
Have anything to add? No, just, I think David mentioned what the effort is wrapped up at this point. So the meetings where we've been broken into subgroups completed, all the notes taken. So I look forward to seeing the final product along with our local homeless framework that we're going to be wrapping up as well. So a lot of the paper is done, and use that as our springboard to more action in the future. And hopefully that action means money. Money up there, see the timeline
Cruz, I'm going to put you on the hot seat if you don't mind. I know you had this wonderful meeting with Supervisor Gore last week, and it was reported out in the newspaper a little bit different than what I watched. Could you give us a little quick synopsis on what your plan is with the community center versus paying water bills for people and things like that?
Well, the newspapers never tend to really focus on what the objectives of meetings are. So this is the idea of Supervisor Gore that he has brought forth in the past. And the community center, or what would I say, county services to Cloverdale, never came to fruition due to some restrictions by general services in the county. So you were present when we were planning this conversation. And you know that the general services director, human resources director, and other individuals that are key for providing services to the county were present as we were planning this conversation. And the problem has been the guidelines that they had that don't necessarily apply to small communities like Cloverdale. So there are going to be some adjustments on how can the county bring services to Cloverdale. And that is going to be in collaboration with either the senior center, the library, or even Veterans Hall. They are trying to also identify individuals who work in the county, who reside in Cloverdale, to make it more attractive to be here locally providing services that otherwise wouldn't be provided. Because you also know that they have these numbers that you need to have a number of persons receiving services before they can have a center or representation in the town. And I said that is a blanket policy that doesn't quite work for Cloverdale, because we're never going to have the numbers that the county requires because of our population. So this is going to be probably coming up around the beginning of the year, and they're going to be working with several stakeholders, even with St. Vincent de Paul, if they continue to engage in variety of services with the other agencies. So this is something pretty much coordinated by the county and consulted with us, and getting the feedback that David and Kevin, you and I provide. So that's basically it. It's not necessarily that there's going to be a built center or anything like that. We're also trying to build relations with Nuestra Comunidad, who has a nice space, to see if perhaps some of the representatives of the county can start coming to Cloverdale to facilitate to people who are having transportation problems.
And Mayor Cruz, when you talk about services, can you give us a little more on that so that we know that it's not, just like a homeless hangout as people have portrayed it?
Oh no,
Tell
this
what
is
the services
something.
are that the county is willing to offer here and what they're doing.
Yes, definitely. It's not homeless services alone. This is services for families with children, requiring what's going on already with WIC, but also for housing assistance, also for food security, as well as health referrals. There are other things that required, paperwork if somebody has some legal issues and such. I should also say that this week we are going to have Esther Lemus, who is working with Sonoma Legal Aid Office, in particular with services for the elderly. It's going to be discussed and presented at Coffee with the Mayor on Thursday at the Senior Center. And all these services will eventually be in one location so people could have consistency in terms of timing, in terms of dates, and then place, so that people don't have to be jumping from one place to the other or having to get on a bus to go to this office or that office, either in Healdsburg or in Santa Rosa or in Windsor. We have been neglected for a long time. And the county has realized that this lack of action cannot continue because we all pay local and county taxes as well. And we need to get those services to our community. Either it's legal, housing, food security, homelessness, or any kind of educational opportunities that may become available, and even training will be coming to Cloverdale. So it's not just homeless services. It is services in general because we have not received those in the past. And if we have received them, it's been sporadic with no consistency and no true knowledge for our constituents.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. That was wonderful. Debbie, I see your hand, and I knew I would. So please.
Hi, yes, the county did also sign a letter of intent, and it outlines exactly what Marta was just talking about, the services that they would like to have located in Cloverdale. And they're doing this in all of the outer regions of the hub, the Santa Rosa hub of the county, and trying to work with the FQHCs in each area, Sonoma, West County, Cloverdale, and get services out here. We absolutely feel confident that at a minimum, we will have mental health services, as we have worked with them, and they have rented space from us for years and years. And we had much better relationships when we were in the same location, coordinating the care of the patient. So I feel real confident. That's a ways out, like Marta was talking about. We need to find alternative locations for the interim until we're built out and operating. And that's something that I know James is working on as well as Marta is. So.
Thank you, Debbie. Michael, I saw your hand. You still have something to say?
Thank you, Todd. Mayor Cruz, you mentioned St. Vincent de Paul. This is the first I've heard of what you're doing. Can you please keep me advised if we're going to be involved in any way?
Well, you know, what we did is we assessed who are the stakeholders in Cloverdale. That was part of the conversation. Who would be the people that would enhance any services brought to the table? And of course, we recognize the work you've been doing for years now. And we cannot leave you out of the conversation. When the time comes for general services and the Department of Human Services, when they come together with a plan, and the Office of Supervisor Gore has something more concrete, they'll be reaching out to you. They'll be reaching out to the Veterans Hall. They will be reaching out to the library and to the senior center. So it's inevitable for you to be mentioned in any kind of services because you are already providing incredible services to Cloverdale. And perhaps one of the things that the county is taking into account is how are funds going to be distributed? Who should be recipient of these funds that are available? And of course, your entity and your services in Cloverdale is something that has been talked about. So it's not that you're out of the picture. It's not that you are part of a concrete plan, but you are recognized by your work, as well as Randy and all the people who have collaborated throughout the years in assisting the Cloverdale community.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
There's another hand raised for the attendees, Renee Rowe.
Okay.
I will allow you to speak if you unmute yourself, Renee.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I do agree with Vice Mayor Lands about the article being a bit misleading that was in the paper. And so once things are nailed down and the facts are available, I'd like to offer as a community member to do a write-up in conjunction with the city personnel that explains exactly what the plan is, and I'd be happy to post that on social media.
Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that.
Well, Renee, also the conversation was posted online, and the city has posted it also, so that whomever has any questions can listen to the conversation and see, this. And I also reached out to the reporter, and I did say to her that it was a very misleading, and that it was a quick write up that did not reflect the spirit or the essence of the conversation, especially because it is something that Vice Mayor Lance and I worked on in collaboration with the city staff. I am sure that maybe some of this has already been in the weekly report by David Kelly. David, could you clarify?
The update was not in last week's weekly newsletter, but it will be in this week's newsletter, along with a link to the recording of the Zoom video.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Renee, for your offer, and when the time comes, we will definitely get a hold of you, and I know how.
Okay, thank you.
Well, David, could you put on the chat what is the link to read the weekly report? Because the weekly report reflects a lot of the different activities by council members.
I'll coordinate that with Acting City Clerk Yvonne. I'll send you the link if you can post it up.
Okay.
Questions? Anyone? Comments? Great. Thank you. Let's move on to the next, which is an update from Police Chief Ferguson on police response to homelessness.
Thank you. I think we covered a lot of it that I was going to bring up today. I'm happy about that. I want to thank for sure Margaret, Colleen, and Debbie for being a part of this and reaching out. And I think last time we were here, we were talking about going around and around with these conversations, but really not quite hitting the mark on taking action. And I think this was the first step in really making that happen. So thank you guys very much for reaching out and getting this process started. So far, I'm happy with the results, and I hope it continues. With that being said, I'll simply report, like I always do, some statistics on what we deal with our homeless population. Since our last meeting, September 14th, we've continued to do our morning foot patrols. That has not stopped since we began in on May 10th. We do frequently come across, I would say, the same individuals in our business district that we move along, and we're going to continue to do that because of the outcry from the business district about some of the problems with their city. So we're going to continue that effort, and overall, since that period I gave, September 14th, we've contacted homeless-related folks and incidents 46 times. 7 of those were specifically related to the plaza. And what I will say about the plaza, the efforts for implementing that curfew have really helped. They have kind of brought those numbers down. They were much higher for the longest period of time, so they've come down a lot. We continue to do river patrols, not as much, but after the vegetation management that Vice Mayor Lance was involved in, we did go down there and check out the areas there. We don't do it as much as we'd like to, but staff has kind of held us a little bit, but we are going to try to get out and do that. But I really didn't have much more to report today, other than the good news about the progress that the team concept is making.
Any questions on that? Yvonne, any hands?
No hands.
Thank you. I'll give a quick update on the vegetation management. We're about 2/3 of the way through the budget from the county and city, and they're wrapping up section that we had to do with that money. So it's nice, the money is actually going further than we had planned, and they will be starting on the private property with private funds real soon, as soon as they finish where they're at. We have done everything we can to help anyone that we've come across that is down in the river to provide services. Nobody has taken any at this point. However, we're offering and making sure that they know that we are available for whatever they need to help them get out of the river, because they can't live there. Another thing I want to report on is tomorrow night, the council is going to see a letter of support for Laura's Law that we are bringing forward to the council to try to get approval on. For those of you that don't know what Laura's Law is, it's kind of a last chance scenario before conservatorship or full-on lockdown of a person. It's a court ordered. It's court ordered for someone to take their medications and their mental health medications so that they can take them but still be out on the road in the community and give them the last chance to be successful. And it's been shown in many states, including California, that it works very well. Sonoma County turned it down and chose not to support Laura's Law recently, but with the I call it an uproar that we have had in Cloverdale and the loud voice we've created, they have decided to rethink that. And so we want to make sure that they know if the council supports it, that we as a council and town support Laura's Law. It's a good thing. It's costly, but it's a last chance thing. It's not the ultimate, but it is the last thing we can do to try to help some of these people. And we have a few candidates in our town that's basically their only option. Debbie, I see your hand. Did you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I would encourage the council to also submit that letter to the Sonoma County Mental Health Board in support of Laura's Law. The director of behavioral health or mental health in Sonoma County is retiring, I think, at the end of this month. So now may be a good time to lobby for reconsidering that law.
Thank you, Debbie. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yvonne, can you elevate Melanie Hall to Howell? While we're waiting, Debbie, if you wouldn't mind sharing with me the contact for the Sonoma County Mental Health Board, I'll make sure we reference that in our discussions on Laura's Law, letter of support at the council meeting on tomorrow, on Wednesday.
I'll email it to you tomorrow morning, David.
Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions on either of the vegetation management or the Laura's Law?
If there's anything the public can do to help facilitate Laura's Law and get our voices in on that, just let us know.
Write your James Ford.
Okay.
I want you to take your kind of write James Ford.
Okay.
And let him know that the more letters he gets, and he does support it. However, he needs more proof. But a lot of people support it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Todd, I would say the biggest hurdle we have is convincing the Sonoma County Mental Health Board to support, advocate for it, because without their approval and recommendation, that's been the holdup. They're the ones who recommended against it.
Good to know. So then tomorrow night during our meeting, we'll make that contact clear as to who that is. And if you have any questions after tomorrow night, I'll ask it so we can know.
Thank you.
Any other hands up, Yvonne?
No.
Anyone else have anything in this room?
Okay, just a quick update. On Thursday evening, there is a Mayors and Council Members Association. There's going to be a presentation by the Assistant City Manager, Don Schwartz with Runner Park in regards to the Sonoma County Continuum of Care. One of the objectives, Don represents the small cities that are part of the Continuum of Care, which are really all Sonoma County. One of the key aspects of the Continuum of Care is that they direct the majority of the funding that comes into the county for homelessness services and programs. And one of the objectives is to ensure that those funds through the Continuum of Care are distributed on an equitable basis. We've seen a lot of the funding be directed toward Santa Rosa and Petaluma, and even Sonoma Valley, and there's obviously a real interest in ensuring that, I think as the mayor was indicating, is that, Cloverdale and North County gets its fair share of homeless funding. So it's an ongoing effort to kind of reorganize the governance for the continuum of care to seek more representation from Cloverdale and North Sonoma County on that board. Again, to help facilitate more funding and directing more funding to Cloverdale, to Northern Sonoma County. So that's another concurrent effort. The mayor has been very active on what's called the homeless ad hoc, and I've participated along with Kevin in trying to again pursue that equity in funding and programming for homelessness services. So this is kind of a larger governance issue that's at play in Sonoma County, and an effort that we're spending time trying to, ensure that we get our due resources directed.
Mayor Lance, Vice Mayor Lance.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, I want to reiterate that this is definitely a matter of trust in your elected officials here, because we want to make sure that we choose the best representatives for the Northern County. And given that we have such limited staff, we have been working very closely with Reach for Home, the city of Healdsburg, and their housing person who is the representative for North County. You have to trust that our effort is there, that our needs are being shared, that they are informed of this particular committee and how strongly organized it is in order for everything to be implemented and for us to be able to participate in any decisions that are made. So, everything takes time, and it takes a lot of work behind the scenes. And any questions that any constituent has, we will bring to the table to all these meetings so that they could be answered and addressed appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a hand raised in the
Please go ahead.
audience. It's Leanne Fabian. If you unmute yourself, Leanne, you should be able to speak.
Hi, Leanne.
Hey, Todd. Kudos to you for supporting Laura's Law. That's key. And I'm just wondering why privately funded organizations like Living Water Church in this town that gives free showers and free food to the homeless on Tuesdays is not represented here. I'm just saying, I don't know. It seems a little weird. It's not all about God, Martha.
I just wanted to answer your question immediately so that you can continue to ask other questions. I brought those showers with Redwood missions to Cloverdale. And the reason they are hosted there is because nobody else wanted the showers in their property. So they're doing this as a service to Cloverdale. And Living Waters joined the Redwood missions to do this. And this is an activity that is not sponsored by the city or the county. This is independent. The mission,
right.
The Redwood mission. Yeah, I just wanted to make
right.
sure.
Why are we ignoring independent, not government funded entities in this city that are doing good work? I know Stephanie and Josh. I know them. They're good people, and they're providing good services to people that need it. And they are overwhelmed, and I support them 100%. Just saying.
Leanne, then could you do me a favor and could you send me their contact info so I can get a hold of them and see if they want to be a part of this? I would imagine they've been out.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. They're awesome.
I'll take care of that. If you can send me their info, I will go contact them myself.
All right, thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
There's another hand, Angela Cordova.
Hi, Angela.
How are you, Vice Mayor Todd Lands? Thank you for your vegetation management cleanup. I think you guys have done an amazing job. I noticed there was quite a few people that were trying to take the credit for that. I'm really glad that you were able to coordinate that and make it happen for our community. Chief Ferguson, I see your guys out there, you know, working their butts off and dealing with, you know, the homeless. I've seen them out there interacting with them and doing their best to keep our streets clean and safe. So I really appreciate those efforts as well. Marta, you know, you just made a comment that nobody wanted those showers on their property. You should probably do some research, because I personally talked to other agencies and other places here in Cloverdale, and the reason why the showers weren't welcome there was because of the outbursts and the liability of the mentally incompetent homeless people. So those are some things that you should probably look into before you just say people didn't want them there. There's more to it. So don't, you know, bash these other churches and other places when you didn't even do your homework. Okay. And thank you, Living Waters, for stepping up and having those showers there with all the liability that comes with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Vice Mayor,
Go ahead.
if I may. I tell you that City Manager Kevin Thompson and Shirley Davis and myself worked on this about 6 months after I was elected. And this was thoroughly researched. So yes, no other entity wanted the showers because they didn't want to help with the water, they didn't want to help with the liability, etc., etc. So we did do our homework and we did reach out to the appropriate entities.
Wanted to help. It's because of all the outbursts, the attacks, the verbal assaults. Get your story straight.
Angela, thank you. Okay. Moving forward, any other hands, Yvonne?
No other hands.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? Anyone here? Great. I look forward to tomorrow night. The floor is
Yvonne,
long.
excuse me, Vice Mayor,
Please, go
Yvonne,
ahead.
you need to remove some of the participants.
Okay.
We're going to adjourn now, so we're going to remove everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So the next meeting is scheduled, I think it was November 9th at 1 p.m. in this location, and the time will be 1 p.m. as we rotate times.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else from anyone, we'll call this meeting adjourned. And thank you, everyone, for all your time.
Thank you.